Holy Knuckles, we see it right here. You might think it's a little bit violent, but this is a story of a man who fought a war that could not be seen. This is the story of a tool designed for the ultimate defense. This is a story of a piece of silver that carries the weight of 1,000-year-old blessing. A piece of silver that could be yours, as we'll be giving it away to one lucky subscriber in a future monthly giveaway. Take a look at the Holy Knuckles. Let's learn about this a little bit so that we can appreciate what it is that we see. As we begin in the 6th century, Italy, of course, a world in collapse, the Roman Empire was a memory, and the Dark Ages were more than just a name. They were a reality. In the middle of the chaos was a young man named Benedict. He was born into nobility, but he walked away from the glitter of Rome to live in a cave. He wasn't looking for a fight. He was looking for peace. But the world, and the shadows within, had other plans, of course. Benedict became a leader of men, establishing the famous monastery Monte Cassino. He gave us the rule, a blueprint for living. But history tells us that his journey was marked by miraculous escapes. Legend has it that when jealous rivals tried to poison his drink, the cup shattered when he made the sign of the cross. When they sent him poisoned bread, a raven flew down and carried it away. Benedict didn't fight with a sword, he fought with faith. He became the patron saint against the accursed dragon, the ancient enemy of mankind. And his symbol, which you can see here, and here, is the Saint Benedict medal. It became the most powerful shield in the arsenal of the faithful of the early Roman Church. Now you might wonder, how does a 6th century monk find his way into a workshop in the 21st century? Well, look at this tool in question. Throughout history, the brass knuckles, or a duster, have been symbols of grit, of the street, of the physical strength for survival. They were a tool of the Constantine legend in a way to deliver hard truth to a dark world. But when you take that symbol of raw human force and you marry it to the spiritual authority of Saint Benedict, you get something entirely different. You get the Holy Knuckles, which is 2 ounces of pure silver gilded with gold, as you see. This is the second release from the master craftsman over there at Spectre's Mint, following the Holy Lance, which we have covered on this channel. Look at the inscriptions etched into the metal, the old tongue, the Latin, the knuckles speak. Right here. Fiat justitia et pereat mundus. Let justice be done and the world perish. It's a declaration of what truth stands. Across the grip on this side, the warning, Exorcimamus te omnes immundi spiritus. We exorcise you, every unclean spirit. These aren't just words, they're an invitation to fear no evil. But the stroke of genius are in the finger holes. They are not empty, of course, they are sealed by the Saint Benedict medal itself. You can see the cross here, which some say was the very instrument that shattered the poison cup. You see the letters CSPB, the cross of our Father Benedict, and sitting right above it all is the word Pax, which means, of course, peace. Most knuckles you see are made of brass or steel, things that rust and fade, but the Spectre's Mint decided that this tool of divine justice deserved the purest vessel. Issued by the nation of Samoa, as you can see here, for 2025, this isn't just a curiosity, it's a staggering 2-ounce slug of 3/9 fine silver. It is legal tender, though you'd be hard-pressed to spend it. It measures roughly 68 by 38 millimeters, but it's the finish that stops you in your tracks. The entire piece, adorned with gilding, gives a warm celestial glow that feels as if it were pulled straight from the cathedral treasury. It comes resting in this premium wooden display case accompanied by a numbered certificate of authenticity. As you see, we have number 10 out of 999, which is a very, very strong number when it comes to Benedict, as in chapter 7 of the Rule of Saint Benedict, Benedict describes degrees, steps of humility that lead a monk towards perfection. While the rule formally lists 12 degrees of humility, early Benedictine teaching and later medieval interpretations often emphasize groupings of 10 when instructing novices, mirroring the 10 Commandments and the ascent of the soul towards God. Many Benedictine educators spoke the 10 foundational steps before full spiritual maturity. It is a piece for collectors who understand that stress metal of this world needs spiritual anchors. For the person who knows that sometimes to find peace, you have to be prepared to defend it. This was inspired by some axe in a cave in Italy, and now we have a gilded silver masterwork. But is it right for your collection? Well, one of you watching right now might actually have the chance to win this fantastic coin as we talked about, as it will be a giveaway in the future. But first, let us place it on our 60-point scale to see if it has the hallmarks of an elite coin. We start, of course, here on the obverse, which I believe to be this side, as the mintage number is right side up, as you can see, 10 out of 999. I love the way the black and gold play off each other. The gold is fairly muted compared to the silver we so often highlight, but it is a nice touch. Let's start at the bottom where the words right here, as we talked about, fiat justitia et pereat mundus, let justice be done and the world perish. A beautiful piece of old language. Next we have another saying in the sign of the cross here, upon a touch of filigree with the words Sanctus Spiritus et Continuum Spiritus, meaning Holy Spirit and continuous Spirit. On either side of that cross we see the words right here and here, Non timebo mala, fear no evil. The eye drifts higher to the 4 pitch black Benedictine medals. The religious symbol is also a symbol of opening difficult paths. Tradition holds that it protects us from curses, evil, and vices, and protects against disease and good health. And we can see in here, Pax, which obviously means peace. We have the CSPB, which is Crux Sancti Patris Benedicti, which is going to be the cross of our Holy Father Benedict. Then we see Crux Sacra sit mihi lux. May the Holy Cross be my light. Non Draco sit mihi dux. May the dragon never be my overlord. Then we have Vede retro Santana. Begone, Satan. Then Nunquam suade mihi vana. Never tempt me with your vanities. Sunt malaque libas. What you offer me is evil. Ipse venina bibas. Drink the poison yourself. Such historic symbolism tied to this obverse. Around each medal are echoes of that same language. At the top of the coin, we again have the fiat inscription, let justice be done and the world perish. Really, it's a fantastic piece that ties religion, history, and the modern world, as brass knuckles are thought to originate in the 1800s. I love the black and gold, and it scores a 10. When we move to the reverse, we see almost an identical representation of the obverse with some subtle changes, such as this, as we talked about earlier. Exorciamus te omnes immunde spiritus, at the bottom right here, which means we exorcise you every unclean spirit. Moving up to the sides of the filigree, we see the Argentum Purum 999, which, as you guessed, means 999 pure silver, but as we see, it has been gilded in gold. In the cross, we see Civitas Independens Samoa, MMXXV, which obviously is Independent Nation of Samoa, 2025. Right above the cross, we see the coat of arms of Samoa here, and it is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and so yes, this reverse scores a perfect 10. We move now to mintage. As noted, this is number 10 out of 999, which is absolutely fantastic. Extremely low mintage, not even 1,000 of these in circulation, and I have one of them. Obviously, that scores a 10. When it comes to cultural significance, it's a very interesting thing. We know, if you remember our Holy Lance video, that the island of Samoa is extremely religious. In fact, as we look at their coat of arms, which is right here, we can get a zoom in on that, there is a cross right there at the top, the most northern part, and that's because back in the day when it was being found, basically we had the Protestants show up with the London Missionary Society, roughly 1830, and they started to spread the news of the gospel, and that took on like wildfire. And then later, the Catholics showed up. Though they were not necessarily Benedictine Catholics, they were still there. I believe they were Mariist and Picpus fathers, not Benedictines, but they would have probably followed the teachings of Benedict and taught those in their mission work. So absolutely, was Samoa influenced by Benedictine? It very well could be argued that in a small part it was, though he would not have been a featured staple of their conversion, let's say, which they still follow today. Extremely religious little island there, Samoa. So I think it warrants, honestly, an 8 out of 10 for cultural significance. We move now on to collectability, and as you have seen, this is 10 out of 999. So we're starting with extremely low mintage. We have a theme that is by far one of the strongest in the world, and that is religious items. This one being more papal, more Catholic in its fit and finish, which still has an incredibly strong tie, especially when it comes to little trinkets like this, because many Catholics I know, and it has been my experience, that they love items like this to have in their house to remind them of their teachings and to also remember, because they like to pray through many saints and things like that for certain guidance. St. Anthony, for example, they would have something like this to remind them to pray maybe to Benedict to help ward off spirits or to remove a path in their journey, those types of things. So extremely collectible, well designed, beautiful box. All of that stuff falls into play, and it scores a 10, leading us to uniqueness. I'm not sure I'm going out on a limb by saying I've never seen a brass knuckle set of coins, and here we are, especially one that is religious. I'm not somebody who necessarily is a violent person, but I like the idea that we do have to defend our hearts, our souls, against the darkness that is out there. And though this is a fairly violent symbol of a modern age, it doesn't change the fact that normally where you would see brass knuckles are dark places of humanity, but that's also true that maybe that's where the light is needed most, are the dark places of humanity, because as we know, Christ did not do any of his works in the temple. He went out to the places and found the people that were forgotten by humanity and said, I am the way, and basically challenged Satan on all fronts and beat him, of course. So, that being said, maybe these are the knuckles you need to carry in your pocket to remind yourself of who you are and whose you are, wherever you may roam. I think it is incredibly unique, and it scores a 10, bringing us to our final thoughts and score. This means these silver and gold holy knuckles of St. Benedict punch across the line at an elite 58 out of 60, just barely missing perfection. And the only reason is it's, though very relevant to the island of Samoa, it is still quite relative as a whole. Very, very cool coin that will be one of yours one day in the future as I give it away. But it is just a delight to hold, and something that I think is should be on a shelf, should be displayed and talked about with the people in your close community, that you are not worried about them stealing from you, but maybe it's a piece to remind them and remind you once again of the path that you are on, right? As we search for thy will, not my will, But until next time, please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.